for everything. You're going to get tons of emails and you're going to need to read all these emails. And you need to be able to you're going to be the example. Yeah, so like when there's a sign up, when you have to sign up on a Google Doc for like certain times, try and be that first person, because you're going to be looked up to, and if you're like the last one to sign up for it or whatever, it just, yeah.
And that will affect your staff as well. If you're not on it, then your RAs aren't going to be on it. Like, it's going to trickle down and it's going to have like a ripple effect. And so that's why, like, sometimes you do have to be in the office a lot longer than you want to, but in the end it's going to help because you're going to be able to pass on information without having to go back and forth asking questions with, like, say if it's leasing stuff with RCRs or that type of thing. If you gather all the information at once and then relay it to your RAs, it's better than just getting snippets and having to go back and forth.
And I think with taking initiative, it's like there's going to be a lot of things that come up, and you're going to be expected more than other people to kind of be in charge of that. Or like when we talk about things in our RD meeting, like there's always things that come up like, okay, I'll be in charge of that or whatever. So you're going to be expected to kind of step up and be in charge of a lot of different things. Yeah. Other questions? Input?
Ideally, they're their own little RA team. I mean, we have our Del Norte team, we have our Gardens team. Well, you'll be the RD team, and there's times where you might have to hold the phone for one another and cover for one another, and you normally don't have an issue. I know these guys don't have an issue with getting something covered, or with if it's a hearing, and then the odd time that all four of them want to go out together, then they just make plans ahead of time with me to hold the phone. And they work very hard, and I think that they deserve that. So I'll hold the duty phone for them for a night so that they can go out and enjoy each other's company. Because that's one thing, is that 3 can go, but if someone's on duty, the other one can't join. And I also trust them that they're going to go out and they're going to be respectful and they're going to represent Trout well, and that they deserve to do that. And I don't have to worry about hearing rumors the next day or pictures being on Facebook. So that's something that's definitely earned as well.
I think something that's really important is just being as close in as possible, because the closer that like you guys are, like you're setting an example for your RA teams and whatnot. It's like when someone takes my hearing or I take their hearing, I'm not expecting it's a fair trade, like you're gonna owe me a hearing or something like that. Like, we don't owe each other anything. It's kind of like, if you're available and you can cover it, then you'll cover it. If it's like a whole week of duty, then okay, we'll switch it. But if it's like a night, we don't really pay attention to that much at all.
Because we know that down the road there's probably going to be a time that we're going to need help, or they're going to like take our duty or something like that. And it's a lot more, rather than like when to work, trading, that type of thing, it's a lot more just we respect each other to the point where we're not going to take advantage of each other, and we're going to want to help each other. Whether it means that we have each other's back in a program, say Quad Wars. Like, I know for a fact if I needed help with something, Juliet would be there in a second. Whether or not she got credit for it, whether or not she was asked by admin, she would help me out. Same with Shane and Greg. And that's the whole part of it. It's like, it's not so much that it's your job to help each other, you want to help each other, because we all are in like this same position, and a lot of the stuff that we do, other staff members don't see. And that's where it sometimes is really frustrating, because we're getting kind of not complained at, but a lot of people are talking like, oh, what are they doing? What are they doing? Like, we're not doing programs. We're not doing a lot of stuff that the RAs are doing, but we're also doing a lot of behind the stuff. And that's why we have each other's backs, because we do see how much work and how much time and energy we do put into it.
With these guys, I have to stop them from arguing over who's going to help out more than pulling teeth on who's going to help out. And that's an awesome, awesome thing to have with a team. So, Julia?
Just something that I'm thinking of also that's different is like your mindset in the job is, I feel like when you're an RA, you are able to kind of like mess up in certain things because you know that you can call the RD or you can call someone and it'll get cleared up and they're going to take care of it. Now, like if you mess up, like if you say the wrong thing to a resident or to a parent because you don't know our policies well enough or something, anything like that, like trop's at stake. Like this is our business, this is the reason we have a job, and like you have to be so much more careful about like what you know and like what you do because it's a big deal. Like you realize how many things we can go to court for, and you just have to be like, your mindset's just a little bit more different, there's more at stake, and like you don't want it coming back to you. So I don't know, that's something I always think about, like ooh, what's the legal complication that can come if I don't read over this email a second time or whatever, you know.
And Shane kind of touched on that, like you do make decisions that have to be like right then and there, and by reading all those emails and by staying up with all the policies and all the information, you're able to make the right decision right then and there rather than one that's gonna have repercussions.
And these guys know that when I ask them a question, I'm not looking for them to answer how I want them to answer. They will answer me bluntly and honestly because they know that's what they're getting from me as well in return. But I don't want things sugar-coated. I'm not in a position where I can afford things to be sugar-coated. I need things to be given to me straight. I need to know how your staff feels. I need to know how you feel. I need to know what's best for your staff. And if I'm asking your opinion, I want your true opinion. It may not mean that we agree and we have the same opinion, but I will respect it and I will listen to it. And a lot of times I'm asking because I'm taking it to Dave or Ben, and even Dave's taking it to Kent. And I would say 80% of my decisions are made with the RD's inputs. They receive a say in everything that has to do with their staff. It might not mean it goes that way, but I believe that you guys as RDs, because you're working closest with them, with the RAs, you understand what the RAs want and what they need, and I respect that. So a lot of times the RD's opinions holds a little more weight than mine does when it comes to the RAs, but I don't think it's fair for me to make a decision without the RDs having any input whatsoever. So you do have a lot of say about what, at least say or an opinion about decisions that are being made. There are some things that you may not, and those are usually when it comes from up above, and that's up above Dave's head and Kent's head, and that's more of a business realm. Anything else? Okay.